Hi, I'm Jane Smith. I'm the author of the Tommy Bell Bushranger Boy series. Today I'm going to read you Chapter 5 from this book, Shootout at the Rock. In Chapter 4, we met Tommy Bell travelling back to the past, where he got into a shootout with a bushranger known as Fred Ward. Chapter 5, Captain Thunderbolt. Tommy woke up in his bed at the farm. He sat up, confused. Had he dreamt about the hold-up? He looked in the mirror and saw scratches on his face and strands of grass in his hair, and he remembered resting his head on the scrubby earth. What is going on? Grandpa put him to work in the chicken shed. Tommy had to shovel out the poo and put it on the compost. It was stinky work, but he didn't complain. He hardly even noticed what he was doing because his head was so full of last night's adventures. But if it was all true, what had happened to Fred? With a wounded leg, he would have trouble keeping ahead of the police. And would his leg heal? Tommy had a feeling that the medical help in Fred's day might not be very good. Tommy weeded the veggie garden in silence, and Grandpa was so pleased with his hard work that he brought him a cup of juice and some watermelon. They sat on a log under a shady tree and chatted. Tommy was starting to like life on the farm. "Grandpa," said Tommy, "do you know of a bushranger called Fred Ward?"
"My oath,"
said Grandpa, which Tommy understood meant yes.
"that was Captain Thunderbolt's real name.
Grandpa said.
Frederick Wordsworth Ward."
Tommy's heart thudded. Captain Thunderbolt?
The story goes that Fred Ward held up a toll house early one morning. They say that he pounded on the door so hard that his victim said it sounded like thunder. And Fred waved his pistol and replied, "And so it is. I am the thunder, and this is my bolt." And that's how he got his name.
Captain Thunderbolt, Tommy said slowly. Was he the one who escaped from Cockatoo Island?
Why, yes, I think he was. I see you've been studying your history.
Tommy decided to let that go. Is it true that he held up the mailman somewhere around here? He asked. Grandpa rubbed his chin.
He did. Yes, he did. There was a shootout up there by Thunderbolt Rock. Of course, it wasn't called Thunderbolt Rock in those days. It was Big Rock back then. That was the start of it all. 1863.
1863? That was more than 150 years ago. What happened to him? Tommy asked. He was full of dread. Did he recover from the shooting? Grandpa chuckled.
He certainly did. He lived to terrorise this district for years.
Tommy sighed with relief. After lunch, Grandma sent Grandpa and Tommy into town. She gave Tommy $5 in coins and asked him to buy some sugar and flour so that she could make some biscuits. Tommy put the coins in his pocket, his mouth watering just thinking about the biscuits. It was getting hot, so Tommy ran inside to fetch a hat. He saw the Cabbage Tree Hat on his bedside table and snatched it up. He thought he looked pretty smart in it. As Tommy swung himself up into the ute beside Grandpa, he planted the hat on his head. Suddenly, everything around him went blurry. He felt as if he was going to faint, and he closed his eyes. And that's the end of Chapter 5. Please join me for more of Tommy's adventures in Chapter 6. And you can find out more about the other Tommy Bell books on my website.